Hey everybody, and welcome to a new edition of Talking About Cars. I'm Randy Cardoon. Everybody has a car story. He's a rising star on the Disney Channel show Dog with a Blog. Blake Michael talked about how he found himself racing a car for the first time at Irwindale Speedway. But first, Frankie Muniz, best known for his role in the old Fox TV show Malcolm in the Middle, was such a car guy he drove in his first Toyota celebrity car race in Long Beach in 2004 as a celebrity and drove on other tracks as a professional in 2006, later ending his pro racing career after an accident and suffering some health issues. However, he recently got behind the wheel at Irwindale Speedway at yet another celebrity race. Frankie told me his first car was actually a movie car, one from the very first Fast and Furious movie, the VW Jetta, which he acquired with the help of a friend, comedian Christopher Titus. Then there's the story of the rather unexpected car he drove around as a daily driver. Not exactly a car you would think of as a car guy's go-to set of wheels.
I had at the time, I had a bunch of cars I loved, but just cars like I just didn't want to hurt. You know what I mean? I knew around my house, really anywhere in Los Angeles, I knew where every manhole cover was, and I would avoid every single one. But I could do it in a smooth way to where it wasn't annoying for like my passengers. But like I just hated bumps. I hated when anything started rattling, and I didn't want, scratch it. If I got a scratch or a nick or a dinghy from a car door, I hated it. So I was like, I need a car that I could just drive and not really care about. And what is the only car in the world that I wouldn't really care about? And I thought it's a Pontiac Vibe. So I bought the Vibe, but to be honest, I ended up really liking it. I love it. I got the GT, so it was a stick, and it was fun to drive. But I still ended up babying it. You know what I mean? I'm like the worst in that sense.
So your first car was the car from Fast and Furious, the VW Jetta. Do you still have that?
I do. To be honest, I sold it at Barrett-Jackson this year, and about 7 minutes after I sold it, realized that it was probably the worst decision of my life, considering it was my first car. And I'm like, I didn't need to sell. I just sold it because I don't know, I could.
Bored.
Yeah. And I went up to the guy. Actually, I have a pretty cool story about that. So, I did an episode of Spin City 20 years ago with Jeff Gordon, and and he was on the episode, and he comes in the room. So I've become friends with him since then. I've always seen him at events, and he always comes up and seen him at races, and super, great guy. And he came up to me and he goes, "Oh, I heard you sold your car. How'd it go?" And I go, "It was all right. I just, I don't know why I sold it." He goes, "Who bought it?" And I point to the guy who bought it, and he goes, "Oh, Shalupi or whatever his name was." He goes, "He's nice. Ask for it back." I go, "No. I don't want to ask for it back. I'm just, having that seller's remorse." So he calls over Rick Hendrick. He goes, "Mr. H." And he goes, "Mr. H," he goes, "Frankie wants his car back. Tell Shalupi to give him his car back." And Rick Hendrick goes, "You want it back?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes up to Shalupi, and he comes back, he goes, "Here's the paper, you can have it." So I had to pay the commission, sure, but I kept the car. So I spent more money on a car I already owned, and it's back sitting in my garage.
So you had to buy it back.
Well, I didn't have to give them the money that it sold for. I just had to give them the 19% commission that they would have made if it sold. You know what I mean? So
you have the Jetta. Yeah. What else is in your garage right now?
Oh, now I'm the worst. Since I started racing, when I started racing in 2006, 2007, and I kind of got more and more over the street car thing, because there was nothing necessarily fast enough, but also I drive on the streets. Like I said, I baby my cars, and there's nothing that I can do on the streets that compares to driving an Atlantic car or Indy car. You know what I mean? So I kind of got over the fast car thing. Then I went more for the comfortable car thing. And I had an E63, which I really liked because it was fast and comfortable and could fit passengers. But to be honest, I've kind of sold everything. I have a 65 Shelby Daytona that just sits in a showroom. I have a 2008 Dodge Ram, which I love. That's my everyday car. I got a hole-in-one and won a Kia K900. They're the
LeBron James car.
No joke. You're a car guy. Yeah. The nicest car I've ever owned.
Really? I didn't think LeBron was lying, but
no. The way it drives, comfort, the amenities of the car. It's I'll never not. I don't know how long they're gonna make them because I don't know how many they're selling. I will never not have one of those cars. It's that. And also, there's something about the fact that when I drive up, people go, "What is that?" You know, because it's not like, oh, I have a 7 Series or a S-Class. You know, you see a billion of them, nobody really cares. And never mind, if you were to buy it, it's half the price, maybe a quarter of the price. You know what I mean? It's $60,000, $70,000 car. And I love it. I really do. I love that car. I have a smart car that I just got because I've been living in Phoenix, but I've been out here the last couple of months working, and I have a bunch of motorcycles, so I was riding a bike, but I'm like showing up to meetings with like helmet hair, you know, and I'm like, so
I hate it when that happens.
But like, so I was like, I need something, but parking is always a disaster. Like, I had my truck out here, and I can't fit in any of the parking structures because it's too tall. There's no spot that's wide enough. So I was like, I'm just getting a smart car. It's my second smart car.
Do you still have the first one?
No, but the first one I got, like, it was the first one they sold in the state of California. I got it kind of as a joke, but then I ended up really, really enjoying driving it. I put like 80,000 miles on this little smart car.
You're not afraid of it tipping over or anything like that?
I drive motorcycles, so to me it feels really roomy.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
But I just got the new one. They came out with the new body, and I love it. But see, I'm like I said, like I used to have like I used to be known as like a car guy, like having like really cool cars, and like now I have like the most boring cars, but like I love them more than any car I've ever loved. So it's kind of weird.
So, what's on the big list that Frankie Muniz wants for some time to get? I mean, what's on your number one list of I want that?
There's not much on my list, but I've always been into the Pagani Zondas. And my buddy, my old racing manager, started an app, and it's going very, very, very well for him. And he's about to sell it, and he goes, "My gift to you, I'm buying us matching Pagani Zondas." And I go, "Well, I'll see it when I believe it, but how cool would that be?"
It must be going pretty well. I mean, what did one of those run?
They're like, I mean, depends on which one you get, but like $1.5 to $2 million.
And he's going to get you one.
Well, hey, I'll believe it when I see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, forget the guy from the beer commercial. Here is the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, but I won't drive it because it's too bumpy.
Well, you talked about your Shelby. Okay, you got that 65 Shelby sitting there. I'm assuming you're not driving that either.
I've driven it, but not much. I mean, I think since I bought it, maybe I put like 500 miles on it. But
where do you drive it? Do you take it to Bob's Big Boy? Where do you go?
I live in Phoenix. So
okay, the Bob's Big Boy in Phoenix.
we have really smooth, nice driving roads there. You know what I mean? And not as much traffic, so I don't have to worry as much. I would never park it anywhere. Like, it doesn't have windows. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something I would leave anywhere. But I've driven it. It's like my birthday. I was gonna sell it because it's one of those. I'm just in this phase of my life where I'm like, I'm not a car collector. You know what I mean? There's people who like buy cars to just have them and put them in a garage and keep them for however long. That's not me. Like, I buy stuff because I really want to use it, and now especially, like, I buy things that I will use, So it's been in the Barrett-Jackson showroom at like their showroom in Scottsdale for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, so you keep it with them? Yeah,
I mean they have it there on display as like they asked if they could keep it, and they bring it to like some shows every once in a while, but it they take care. So great, I don't have to think about it. But then I'm like going, I still am paying like a ton of money for insurance. You know what I mean? I don't enjoy it because I don't even see it. It's not even like it's in the garage and I walk by it, right? So I told him, I said, hey, I'm gonna come pick up the car. I'm gonna drive it for my birthday. And I went on maybe like a 250 mile drive up through the mountains and had fun with it. And then went, I'm not gonna sell it, but I'm never gonna drive it again. Like, I got, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those that I shouldn't drive, but I'll probably sell in a year or two, but just not. I don't know. I'm weird.
You mentioned again, I go back to the Jetta.
Yeah.
Are there any other celebrity movie cars, I guess you can call it, that kind of you looked at and went, wow, that'd be cool to have?
Not really. I'm not into, like I said, I'm not a car collector. So like I go to Barrett-Jackson every year, and they always have like some of the movie cars and cool old ones. The Smokey and the Bandit car sold this year for $800,000 or I don't know, something stupid.
500, but yeah.
Something stupid. But like I'm not into like the car because it's in the movies. I just like that. The Fast and the Furious was like my life. You know what I mean?
Okay, so which one of those cars would you want if you had an opportunity?
The only other one that I really wanted was the Supra, the orange Supra, from the first movie. I think the cars from the first movie, because obviously nobody knew, if now they've made 7. I think they're making an 8th. Like it's become such a huge franchise. But like, that was like the first time like there was a car movie for like that kind of car culture. Like for the more, younger aftermarket-y, kind of hip, body kits and lowered and the gangs, the car gangs and stuff like that. So like I think that was a lot of people, like meant a lot to a lot of people my age, you know what I mean? But now like the movies, they don't really feature the cars like they did in the first movie. Now there's some cool cars, but they usually get blown up really fast and then they're in some other ones. And
you don't get an emotional attachment yet. You're not able to get that character attachment, if you will, to the car.
To the new ones? No, not necessarily. I mean, like I think maybe it was the 4th or the 5th one that came out. There was like Paul Walker was driving like a Subaru WRX, and it looked pretty cool, like the way they had it, but it was pretty basic. Like it didn't have like crazy stickers on it, like all the first cars did. But I was like, that'd be a cool car to have just to cruise around town.
You're racing full time now. Is it as much fun as you thought it was going to be, and just the experience compared to your acting experience?
Well, to be honest, I haven't been racing full time since 2010. I got pretty badly hurt in 2010.
How are you doing, by the way?
Great. I just, not racing. But no, I loved it. One thing about racing cars, when you're doing it kind of for a living or at that level that I had been fortunate enough to get to, is it's not fun. I mean, it's fun, but it's not like you're going out and cruising, wow, like driving, wow, oh my God, you're there to win. And the team is spending a lot of money, sponsors are spending a lot of money. You're racing against people who have been driving since they were 5 years old and go-karts and worked their way up. It's their lives. You know what I mean? That's all that they know. And, if they're going to make money in their lives, that's the way they got to do it. So it becomes where you're just so focused on going faster, like so focused on, working with the engineers and car setup, and that you forget, or for me, I would forget to enjoy it during the weekend. Like during the event, it was just stressful. You know what I mean? Then after the race is over and you debrief, you think back of moments of like cool things that maybe happened, or times when you almost died, where you're like, whoa, that was pretty badass, or a pass you made or something, where you can think of like the cool things that happened in the race or didn't happen in the race, and you reflect on them then. But it's a job, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going SCCA club racing, I bet a different kind of vibe, because obviously you want to win, you want to be fast, but you're doing it because you want to do it and it's fun, and then you're going to go back and go home and maybe do the next race or maybe not or whatever. So at that level, it's serious business. So I'm good in that environment. I like putting my head down. Like I wasn't there to have a party, but I wish, like looking back at it now, I wish I even put in more effort when I was doing it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I could have even been better if I put in a little bit more time. I was living in Phoenix. The team was based in, whatever, Indy or whatever teams I was on. One team was based in Montreal, and like I should have spent more time with the team in the off races. But I had a new girlfriend and wanted to get home. You know what I mean? Like, so I could have been better in that sense. But that's how much of a job it is. Like you really need to dedicate your whole life to it to be successful.
Absolutely. So you've been in the movie business long enough. This is an opportunity. I'm going to give you your last shot to produce a movie that has something to do with cars, whether it be a race movie. Any idea what you do?
Oh, man. Well, I'm huge into open wheel racing. Other than Driven, which
has been done,
isn't the best movie, you know what I mean?
You didn't like it.
Hey, I loved it, but people, don't think of it as being a great movie, I loved it just because it had to do with, champ car or whatever, IndyCar, I don't know, like, I think a really, like, a cool Formula One, or IndyCar movie that really kind of helped glamorize the sport again, you know what I mean? I mean, even Days of Thunder is awesome, like, but just some current, I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm producing right now a motorcycle movie, like kind of like a new version of Easy Rider. It has nothing to do with Easy Rider, but like if you, in that style of a movie. So.
Those kind of bikes?
One of them. I'll be on like a race bike, but that's kind of the,
When would we be able to see this?
We're just kind of in the early stages now. We should be filming later this year, so maybe a year or so, but should be good.
Actor, driver, and producer Frankie Muniz, who, by the way, won that celebrity race in Irwindale from beginning to end. Now, Frankie will be returning here in just a couple of moments to share some insights on the driving of rookie Blake Michael, an actor that many of you remember from his TV show Dog with a Blog on the Disney Channel. Now, he too was driving a race car that day at Irwindale, and I asked him how old he was when he began to notice cool cars.
When I was about 12 years old, I actually have a picture. I was in the mall, and I said, holy, what is that? There was this gorgeous car sitting in the mall. It was a Lamborghini Gallardo, 2004. And I said, wow, that looks incredible. So I stood next to it. I took a picture of it. And that was when I caught the bug, per se, I guess you could say.
I like the mall you go in. What kind of mall did you go in? Where was this place?
Oh, this was in Atlanta. One of the, Perimeter, one of the nicer malls. But yeah, I saw that car and I was like, wow, that is something special. And that was when I started to learn a little bit about the whole exotic car area. But yeah, ever since then, I've been learning more and more about cars. In the past 3 or 4 years, I've learned so much about cars and met a lot of other car enthusiasts like me.
What were the folks driving when you were growing up?
Oh, gosh. I remember, I'm only 19, but I remember seeing a Ferrari 360 Modena driving on the street, and I thought that was so cool. You know what I thought was always cool? The Porsche Boxster. Now you can get them for pretty great prices now, and they just pack a lot of power for the price. I loved trucks as a kid, too. I don't know much about trucks, but whenever I'd see a big old truck, I'd be like, yeah, that's awesome,
What was your first car?
My first car, lucky enough, I got a Mercedes C-Class, C250. I was looking at the Scion FRS, which definitely would have been a lot more fun. But yeah, the C250, and it's a little coupe. It gets me around.
Used, or did you just happen to see it, or you were working a bunch then,
Sure.
So you had some disposable income?
Yeah, so the kids will probably know me from my show Dog with a Blog. It's on Disney Channel. So and I've been acting since I was 4 years old. So I was lucky enough to get that. So about a year after I got the Mercedes, I'm like, you know what? I need to step it up and get something really fun. So I ended up with an Audi R8. It's a V10 Spider. And I love that thing so much. It's all white, it's got HRE rims, and I threw an exhaust on it. I did a TCU tune, an ECU tune, so I amped it up to 600 horsepower, and that thing is quick.
Is that what's in your garage right now?
Yeah, so I've got the Mercedes, I have the R8, and then I have a Porsche Panamera Turbo, which is a lot of fun too.
All right, so you're young. You got a lot of time to be able to answer this next question. Of all the cars out there, what's number one on the Blake Michael list of I want that car someday?
Ooh,
So many.
There's a lot. When I got the R8, I was choosing between the Gallardo and the R8 and the Gallardo because, like I said, it was that car when I was 12 years old. I saw it, so I wanted to get the exact same spec and take a picture side by side. The car now, I'd say, would probably be a 918 Spider, which is a Porsche. It's a tad out of the price range. I think they're like $1 million or $2 million, but yeah.
I like the way your voice went up just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but you know what? One day we'll get there. But yeah, that's a really cool car. I like the Porsche GT4 and GT3 RS. A lot of good cars coming out of Germany.
You talked about the last 3 to 6 years you've had an opportunity to learn all sorts of things about cars. How did you get involved in the whole racing thing, and what are your thoughts on it as you're going into this one today?
So surprisingly enough, this is actually my first race. And I'm so excited to be here. So this is all, this is a whole new experience for me. I'm learning so much about the car and handling and suspension and learning how to take the lines. That's the big one for me. But Tim over here at High Point Racing has been the best, and he's taught me a lot.
Have any of the drivers helped you out at all as far as giving you tips? I know Frankie's been around, and he's driven a lot too.
Yeah, Frankie and I were speaking for a second. I think out of everybody, Swampy's kind of been like my right-hand guy. Right-hand man. He has taught me so much. He's been racing for a few years now, I believe, and he's always here at the track every week getting better times, so he's given me a lot of great advice.
Okay, I got to tell you, I talked to Frankie earlier, and Frankie kind of explained what happened Thursday, but he didn't go into a lot of incredible detail. You're the guy that it happened to, so I hear through the grapevine. Of course, I'm not going to dispute and tell you who my sources are.
Are we not supposed to say? I mean, like, am I going to be the mole or whatever who's giving out the information, the bad information?
I don't know. I say spill. Go ahead. I'm rolling just to let you know. Go ahead.
I will say this: I happened to be on track during the incident. There was only 2 cars on track. It wasn't me, but it was Blake. So I'll say it. It was Blake.
Okay.
It was Blake.
Now, don't you feel much better for just kind of letting it all out?
Yeah, I don't mind being like the hated one on the track. I want people to fear me.
So you give me your version of what happened.
It was so Thursday night at practice. I was going in for my second run. I had done 20 laps in car number 4, and I was finally getting the line right. That was it. Get the line down. Get the line down. I was finally, touching my left tire with the line, going down, meeting my right tire with the line, and then going up to the wall. I was getting it down, and I was getting the best lap times ever. I think I was doing like 21.4, which was the best for me. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like overtook a turn, and I started spinning, and I don't know. It was fast.
Did they ever tell you what happened to Nathan Kress on this track 2 years ago?
No, I don't know. What happened?
Nathan Kress 2 years ago was driving down in the middle of the race, and his drive shaft fell out.
We all know what happened in Irwindale. Granted, that was not my fault.
Now, just for those who did not know, you were doing pretty well, and all of a sudden a certain car part fell off your car.
A pretty important one. The whole drive shaft thing.
Thingamabob,
Yeah,
whatever they call it.
I don't know. It's a big white thing under the car.
I'm curious, just let's go back to that. You're driving along, take us back to Irwindale. You're driving. How did you know something was amiss?
Well, I think the massive explosion was probably the first indicator. It was interesting. I was coming out of the final turn into the front straight, and I just heard a big kaboom, and I felt my whole car raise just a little bit. And so to me, I thought that what it sounded like and felt like was that both of my rear tires blew. And I was like, I have no idea how that could possibly happen. It's a 10-lap race. It's not like they were, too hot, or I didn't run over anything. So I didn't know what was going on. But then when I didn't hear, the of like the rims on the ground, I knew that couldn't be it. And then all of a sudden the smoke happened. And that's when I was thinking, okay, this is definitely not a tire issue.
Big indication that there might be something amiss.
Yeah, there was that. And then there was this whole thing where the panel that covers the shifter was exploded up and was banging into my arm. And the interesting thing about those seats is that when your arms get locked into place and you're strapped in, you can't move them. So I just have this panel going ba 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 on my arm, just saying, "Hey, something's wrong, something's wrong." And I hear my spotter over the radio saying, "Okay, you're smoking. Let's go ahead and pull off to the right, slow down, let everyone pass you, and come on into the infield." And so at that point, when he said, "You're smoking," I thought I was on fire. And then I remember the whole thing where they forgot to do the fire drill with us because we ran out of time during practice. So I was trying to remember, like, okay, once I pull off, I'm going to be on fire. How do I get the net down? How do I get my belts off? How do I get out without looking like a moron? And, doing it with the Hans device and everything and unclipping myself. And so I was trying to remember all that stuff. But by the time I slowed down and got into the infield, I was able to sort of, well, not really look around because your head's locked into place, but I didn't see fire or anything. I wasn't getting ready to pull the fire system, the halon gas system, and fire safety was like already there by the time I got there. And one of the guys came up and he just looked inside the cabin and he said, "Yep, that was your drive shaft." And then I looked around and saw, the pace car come out and there was just fluid everywhere all over the course. And what's funny is I was mad, but I was so relieved because there's an amazing thing about having mechanical failure on a track. You get so many benefits because you don't have the pressure of finishing and, messing something up right at the end. You have the benefit of the doubt to say, I could have done better, but my car wasn't up to snuff / exploded.
Right.
Or you can just say, look, it wasn't meant to be. My car just was not there with me that day, and I had a great race, and it wasn't my fault. I didn't wreck the car, so the money still went to the charity. So it was a win-win for me, and my mom was really happy about it. So
so obviously the fact that you were okay.
Yes.
And the fact that your reputation was non-sullied by that whole incident. It wasn't your fault the drive shaft came out.
Exactly. That was the first question I asked when I got out of the car. I was like, "This wasn't my fault, right? Did I do something wrong?" And they're like, "No. I talked to guys guys after that, I had a friend who had been watching races there for years, and he said, I have never in my life seen that happen, and I've been here almost every race for the last 15, 20 years. So the fact that that happened just made me think, like, you know, why not? Why wouldn't it happen to me? You know, the one massive thing that is never supposed to happen that took me out of the race, made me able to avoid Marc-Paul Gosselaar and Eric Valdez going at each other. I was able to, you know, get in front of a couple people, and then I could have said that I could have passed more people, and then I ended up winning the fan favorite award.
So I saw on YouTube, I saw a video. I think it might have been that, because there was some chassis that was just like linked. That was the one, right?
No matter what happens to you today, chances are it won't be as interesting as that.
No. Let's hope not. No, I'm gonna. Hopefully, we get another practice in before we go. But no, I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward to not crashing this time. But it should be a good race.
Actor Blake Michael, who oddly enough was doing pretty well in his first race. It was until he hit the wall prematurely, ending his run behind the wheel. In fact, he and actress Kelly Hu were the only drivers to hit the wall in that race. By the way, that clip from Nathan Kress came from our Talking About Cars number 22 from early last year. Thanks again to Blake and Frankie Muniz for joining me on this edition of Talking About Cars. So, what do you think? If you like our podcast, imagine how much fun we're going to have when we put in some cameras. That's right, we're making the move to video. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to like and comment about us on social media. It really helps out. And if you're in the car, you can also tune us in on iTunes and SoundCloud. I'm Randy Cardoon. Join me next time as we have some fun talking about cars.